You got my ride rolling down Lonely's Boulevard. You got dreams, keep on dreaming. It's a big world. The bigger you dream, the bigger you live, you live inside of your mind. Don't let nobody fuck up your high. It's a big world. The bigger you dream, the bigger you live, you live inside of your mind. Don't let nobody fuck up your high. Let's give that up. Good morning, everybody. This is a big story to me. It's about a self-made millionaire, black female self-made millionaire who's obviously talented, was the way she sees things, and was able to build an empire. And she's having a little bit of trouble right now. I think it's a good opportunity for me not only to cover the story, because this is a sociology channel and I do cover things past, present, and future. This story just happens to be in the present, which will be in the past soon. However, I think if we don't learn from the present and the past, then it will determine the future. I truly believe that. So I want to take a look at her story for a couple of different reasons. And before I really get into her history and all that she's done and her accomplishments, first thing I want to kind of do is pull up this video right here. I haven't watched this video yet, so.
So Nearest Green is the first known African-American master distiller, the teacher, mentor of Jack Daniel, the first master distiller for Jack Daniel Distillery. And the entire time that Jack was alive, which I'm so happy, Angela, you pointed this out, because a lot of people still don't know that Jack and his descendants always made sure not only did they give Nearest credit and Nearest's boys credit and grandkids credit, but they also made sure that we knew the difference between Kentucky bourbon and Tennessee whiskey. They're both straight bourbon whiskeys. The difference between the two is the process that came in with the West Africans. The Lincoln County process, taking traditional bourbon distillate, running it through sugar maple charcoal before it goes into the barrel to remove the impurities. That's why Uncle Nearest doesn't give you a headache.
She said a couple of key words there. You guys know, if you do watch me, I'm very hard on the people that say they claim that the black American was already here in America, but they don't say it like, you know, we had a presence here. Littlefoot's was good. Some of us was here. No, the way they're saying it is
there was no slave trade. We were here already, and the white man made up the whole story about the slave trade. He embellished on how many people were kidnapped from Africa and brought here. And I'm like, man, that's an insult to so many people. You don't even know how many people you insulted. I've seen so many arguments. Obviously, I don't agree with them. I don't think there's enough evidence. Is there evidence that the black man was already here in the United States? There was evidence of the African coming to these parts, yes. You can read this evidence for yourself, and they came before Columbus. But nowhere in anything that I have read or researched does it say that there was a huge population of the West African here in the United States. Now, I don't agree with these type of. I think these black people just be doing this for like clicks and stuff, and then there's a bunch of people that want to hear that type. They want to hear that rhetoric. They want to hear that version of the story. Winter was good. Good morning, Winter. Winter caught us in time. They want to catch us, and we might not have a lot of numbers. We might. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I already gave the warning that I'm doing shows not based on numbers, because it makes my channel look crazy. From here on out, we're just doing us, and whatever the number's going to be, the number's going to be. But they will grow. I can tell you that, because they'll know that we're over here being true to the game. So she mentioned the West African distillers, and there's a lot. If we was able to just be realistic, tell the truth to ourselves, it's bad enough you got the white man lying, rewriting history. Why would you join that facade and you start telling lies on the history now? Making this shit up because you want to be part of some type of loophole in America. You want to be attached to the Native American because the Native American is getting loopholes from the government. So now, that's really us right there. That's all us. Knock it off. How about that? You could try that. You could try knocking it off. My point is, if we was to embrace the history, then we would probably find our identity, which is what we're struggling with. And once we find our identity, no matter who likes it, no matter who you think likes it, then this will start to heal things.
Like, you drink that neat, you could drink it neat all night. I do it all the time. And it doesn't give you a headache, and it won't make you tipsy, because we're pulling out those impurities. So nearest green.
Okay. Well, I'll get to that later. I will get to that later.
This is the thing about bourbon. When you're starting a new brand, you're spending money to lay down product that you cannot sell for 4 years. So by lay down, put it in the barrel. And I think the first year we laid down like maybe 10,000 barrels.
Startup costs aren't the only reason that the whiskey business is a risky business. Fawn Weaver launched her spirits company, Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey, in 2017. She faced entrenched, nearly monopolistic competition from international conglomerates and an industry unaccustomed to seeing a black woman in charge. But Fawn was on a mission into which she had poured nearly every single penny she had.
There were absolutely times where account is overdrawn. It is so close to zero. We had nothing that we could call our own.
Now she's doing something remarkable, blitzscaling a bourbon brand. Uncle Nearest is valued at more than $1 billion.
This is the thing about bourbon. When you're starting a new brand, you're spending money to lay down product that you cannot sell for 4 years. So by lay down, put it in the barrel. And I think the first year.
Let's stop that. I want to get into something. Let me go here. All right, I'm not really sure who I should really give the credit to for this story. It could have been the real Dana with Judge Joe Brown, which I think it was. There are a number of black journalists covering this story. Roland Martin, I think, had been covering this story. I think I heard the story about Uncle Nearest a few years ago. And then it fell out, it kind of like just left my mind. I think I was impressed for the slightest bit, boom, and then it just left my mind because I'm not a drinker. But I still found it impressive, right? What did I find impressive? Well, who is Fawn Weaver? Fawn Weaver and Uncle Nearest. The rise, strategy, and crisis of one of the most remarkable brand stories in American business history, and the lessons it holds for every entrepreneur. Let's get into it. That's not Fawn Weaver, by the way, but I didn't want to use her real image. Who is Fawn Weaver? She's an entrepreneur, started her first company before the age of 20. Over 25 years in the business, public relations, hospitality, and investing. Founded Grant Sidney Inc., an investment company. Wow. She's a brand builder. Founder and CEO of Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey. In 2017, the fastest growing whiskey brand in U.S. history and the best selling black owned spirits brand ever. All right, so before we even start talking, how about I just give it up to you for that? Like, dead serious. I'm just going to give it up to you for that. That's amazing that you hit a record. You beat a record. It says the fastest growing whiskey brand in U.S. history. That's not the fastest growing black whiskey brand. That's the fastest growing whiskey brand in U.S. history. Author and speaker. New York Times best-selling author of Happy Wives Club, The Argument-Free Marriage, and Love and Whiskey. She's a frequent TED speaker and media guest. I might bring up one of her TED talks. I seen it on the YouTube. I just didn't watch it. Her key accomplishments are historic first black woman to lead a major spirits brand, expanded distribution to all 50 states and multiple countries rapidly. Before we get into what we're getting into, listen, this is dope. This is dope. We got some people in the building. We got Perk Franklin. Perk Franklin. That's kind of a dope name. She failed to link up with any influential people to promote the product worldwide. That's why it failed. You think so, Perk? I'm going to disagree early. But I keep talking because I want to hear what you have to say. Ciroc had Diddy. True. Okay, I see what you're saying. But that, okay, I see what you're saying, Perk. Cristal had Jay-Z. She didn't link up with anybody. Okay, Perk, I was about to disagree, but I see where you're going, and I retract my disagreement already. Key accomplishments. Rewrote history. Uncovered and popularized Nathan Nearest Green, a formerly enslaved man who taught Jack Daniels to distill, positioned him as the first known black master distiller. So basically, what she did was take a story and make it big enough. She made it a brand, which was genius, right? Only a few of us could see how you could literally take nothing and then you could turn that into something. That's genius. Pipelines founded the Nearest Green Foundation. So there's a term in I don't know what language it is, but I learned this in college, and I know it goes back to Africa, but I don't know which nation in Africa. It's called Sankofa, right? And you'll see the bird, where the bird is going, the neck of the bird is turning back into itself. And that is to say, as you become successful, always remember to turn and give back. And I feel like that to this day, right? I spent many years on the street doing odd jobs, stupid crime, until I got tired, right? And then I said, let me go back to school. Even going back to school, I couldn't see the whole plan. All I know is I just had to do something different than what I was doing. That's all I knew. And after the bachelor's, I just felt like, all right, I'm done. I'm spent. That took a lot out of me that I didn't have. I'm already in my 30s. I'm cooked. Little small Romanian lady wouldn't let me quit. She's like, you got to go on to your master's. I'm like, I don't got nothing else in me to do. Like, I don't got it. She's like, yo, you going. I argued with her, but I did go. You understand? And when I finished my master's program, that did change my salary. It is what it is, right? I no longer had the resume of a taxi driver. I had a different type of resume that qualified me for something different. So as I'm starting to make more money, I did come back to the town of Mount Vernon, and Sankofa, I poured back into my city. The people did appreciate it, and I will be back. The city did not appreciate it, so I won't work with the city no more. But the people, I love the people. All right. I see the comments down there. We're going to get to it in a second. I just want to give her accolades because we're going to talk about some of her mistakes. And the reason we're going to get to the mistakes. A lot of people want to just climb all over the mistakes. But I think it's very important we uplift people of color who have done amazing things, have achieved things that the common person has not achieved. I have not achieved none of these things, and to be honest with you, nobody in my Rolodex has achieved this amount of success. So I think it's high time we build up a code where we can critique. It's okay to critique, and people have to understand that too. I don't want to be one of those people just because you're black, I'm taking up for you. However, we had another thing in the corporate world called a grow and glow. And they use this in education too. So when you pull somebody into the office or you're talking to a student and you about to tell them, like, listen, you did this wrong. How about you tell them what they did right too? You understand? To balance it out. You understand? You can use that on your children too. It shouldn't always be negative. You can use that with your spouse. It shouldn't always be negative. Grow and glow. So you need to grow in this area, but this is where you're growing. You understand? So that's all I'm doing right now. I would feel like a weirdo coming up here tearing down Fawn Weaver. She's a attribute to the community. You understand? Like, let's not do that. That's whack. That's so whack. But we will get to the mistakes because they will help us, even you as a business owner. Right? So step one, she started with a story, not a product. Fawn Weaver said the man who taught Jack Daniel was a black master distiller named Nathan Nearest Green. And nobody told you. Nobody would have told me about Nathan. I'm truly amazed y'all have a picture of Nathan. That's kind of crazy. People weren't just buying whiskey, they were buying legacy, justice, and discovery. The product became a vehicle for the story. I want to get into what Spection was good, baby. Thanks, Spection. I want to get into what Perk Franklin. Perk Franklin, don't go nowhere, bro. Stay there as long as you can. I know you got to go to work or something like that, but please stay in the live. I want to hear you guys. Perk Franklin says she did not reach out to basically somebody that they call it a brand ambassador. And I want to get into that. Like, who was Fawn Weaver's brand ambassador from this day and age? And again, I'm still building up her. So a lot of people that's like, yo, what's going on? Who is she? What happened? All right, we're gonna get there. I know you want me to get there faster, but I got 2 hours to do this, so we got time, right? So we know she's a self-made millionaire who's basically took a story from an old slave master distiller who worked for Jack Daniels and showed him how to create these drinks. And she showed his story as a brand, as a whiskey. Build trust before selling. Spent years researching Nearest Green with historians in the Green family before launch, making the brand undeniable and fact-based. I think you did that well. Premium positioning from day one. High-end packaging, premium pricing, smooth Tennessee whiskey. So she wanted to sell a quality whiskey, obviously. Luxury type of mid-luxury. Nothing like, this is what I'm hearing. So it wasn't Cristal or something over the top, but it was enough for your black families to be able to afford when company is coming over, but not too cheap to go that somebody's buying it every day. One of those type of products. Forced the market to treat the brand as a top shelf first, story second. That's dope. Leverage cultural timing. Launched 2016 to 2020 when demand for authentic black stories was rising. Positioned as not political, just truth. Okay. I'm kind of trying to. I'm thinking about 2016. What is that? The end of Obama, the beginning of yeah. Actually, that time was a good time because it was a lot of Black Lives Matter, George Floyd. Yeah. Okay, I agree with that. Aggressive national distribution. Went national fast. Major retailers, big distributors, strategic bar placement. It says made it impossible to ignore. However, we still got to get back to what Perk Franklin said. Who was the mascot? Who was the brand ambassador? I don't remember one. You understand? Descendants as stakeholders. Partnered with Nearest Green's descendants, gave them. So that's dope, you know. You did right there. You did right there. Marketing equals education, not ads. She did interviews, documentaries, and storytelling content. Every piece answered. Why didn't you know the story? Because of what Perk Franklin said. All right. Uncle Nearest, what actually happened? All right. So now we get into the story, y'all, before we get into the conversation. Here's what happened. They defaulted. Uncle Nearest, the company, defaulted on a $108 million loan. The lender was Farm Credit Mid-America, sued the company, citing missed payments, negative cash flow, disputed inventory numbers, and delayed financial reportings beginning January 2024. Now I'm going to take the time to look at the comments real quick because I do want to I want to say something, but I want to look at the comments and what's going on. And again, shout out to Spection. It's been a while. You was on my mind like 2 months ago. And I was like, yo, I wonder how Spection is doing. So salute to the brethren. We got Big TTV in the building. Salute to you. I didn't look at the message. I know it looks like I looked at the message, Big TTV and Instagram, but I didn't. I just kind of like opened it, but I was in the bed with my wife, and she'd be crying when it was 2 in the morning. It was late in the night or something like that, and she'd be crying. Yo, I'm trying to sleep. You over there watching Instagram, and I do be wilding out, and I'll be over there on the other side of the bed cracking up, and she'd be trying to get to sleep. So I said I'll look at it today. So big up to you. Yo, Roby. We got Roby in the building. And this guy is in the building. This guy is confused. He don't know what's going on. It's okay. He's here for it. You understand? You learned something today. You understand? This guy is white. This is black conversation. But it's okay. You understand? Because he'll learn today. And that's all it's really about. Now, my question is, they gave her $100 million loan. Do y'all think that when they gave Fawn Weaver the $100 million loan, that secretly they was hoping that just one payment went missing? Now, I looked up what a payment should roundabout cost for $100 million loan. So each month is going to be around $1 million. And there's a couple of ways that she could have did the loan. She could have did interest only, which she would have paid less, right? So she might end up paying $500,000 a month. But if you do interest only, you'll end up with the same principal at the end of the term. So why would anybody choose interest only? They would choose that because their plan is to take out another $100 million loan to pay off that loan, right? This way, the flow of money keeps coming in because your credit is still looking good. You paid off $100 million, and then you got another $100 million, and your credit is still good. Everything works. So apparently, and we wouldn't know this because most of us are not dealing with millions of dollars to begin with, let alone hundreds of millions of dollars. So we wouldn't really know how these people operate and keep the doors open. We just see that the doors are open. I worked for a startup, a well-known startup. I just don't like to say their name. I was an IT manager over there, and I had to resign because they was wilding. But for the first 5 years, and if I told you who they was, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know them. Of course, everybody know them. Of course, everybody know them. But for the first 5 years, they didn't make a dime. It was always just like breaking even. So it's hard work. Creating a brand, keeping that brand going through different political seasons. And we will get into, not this show, but I am going to get into the Treasury versus the Fed in another video. But it may be released today because I'm doing a video today. So I want us to understand the economics a little bit more. I want us to understand economics a little bit more so they can't keep on getting over on us, and we can see through the rules that way, right? We can clearly see through the rules. But when we don't understand, just like the Bible say, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So Salute to everybody that's in the building. Yeah. All right. Now, this is what I think I asked the question, but I'm gonna ask it again. I'm gonna go a little bit further. When they gave her the loan, do we think that they kind of felt like, yo, I hope she defaults a little bit? Why would they think that? Because there's something called a receiver, right? It's receivership. I'm learning all of this, and this because this is very interesting to me. I've never had a receiver. Now, I've never had a reason for anybody to put a receiver on me. So first of all, this is going to be in her. This had to be in her contract. And when you're asking for $100 million, I think some things are probably common that's going to be in the contract. Well, one of the things is something that's called a receiver or receivership. If you start to miss payments, or it looks like you doing the wrong thing, then you have already signed an agreement, signed a contract that says the lender can send a representative over, called a receiver, who will take control of the company, but not ownership. Control and ownership are two different things. So when Uncle Nearest started to default on the loan, beginning January 2004, a judge appointed receiver Philip Young Jr. to control operations, finances, and strategic decisions. So at this point, control was taken away from Fawn Weaver. It's very important you understand that to understand the next part of the story. The next part of the story was Miss Fawn Weaver attempted to file Chapter 11 for reorganization. I have done Chapter 11. And Chapter 11 does fix you. It puts you back on your feet. Right? If you could do it. But it was so chaotic at the time. I'm talking about chaotic. I just didn't know how to fix none of that. I filed Chapter 11. Boom. 5 months. They say 6 months. 5 months. Your boy was back on his feet. I was back on my feet. And the thing is, when you file Chapter 11, the creditors have to stop everything until the decision is made from the courts. So what Ms. Fawn Weaver attempted to do, because I know she probably felt like, yo, I know what I'm doing, even though it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, but I have a plan. Even though my plan hasn't been working, it will work. And I'm just saying that because most of us feel like that. You understand? Like, yo, just let me rock. Let me just finish. Thank you. This effing guy says, just don't panic, stay consistent and persistent. Thank you, bro. Shout out to this guy, this effing guy. And he be over there on his channel. He has like a automotive place, and he be showing people how to do automotive repair and all of that. I be checking out his videos. Salute to you, bro. That's how she probably felt. Like, yo, I got this. It's all under control. And she probably felt violated. She's the big, I'm not going to say the big dog because that would make her a female. And we don't do that around here. You understand? because that would make her something else. But she's sort of a big deal at this point. She's no longer 20 years old. She's been a millionaire since 20. And she's sort of a big deal. So what I'm really ultimately saying is a little bit of ego there, a little bit of pride there, a little bit of embarrassment. Nobody wants to look like I made a mistake at this level in the game. So you start to try to save face. She did try to save face twice. Once she went and attempted to file a Chapter 11 reorganization, and the court dismissed it. But here's the problem. I'm going to tell you why the court dismissed it. The court dismissed it for the same reason I just said. She was no longer in charge. Once she defaulted, she had already signed a deal to get the $100 million. You understand? They gave her the $100 million. Boom, here's that. You defaulted. I don't know if her lawyers needed to go over more on, hey, just, I'm happy to make this thing go down. But just a reminder, if you miss a payment, it is breach of contract. If you miss a payment, it is breach of contract, and they have every right to trigger the next, what they need to do after that. And maybe, again, I'm not dealing with millions or hundreds of millions. So I'm kind of assuming maybe she knows some other people that defaulted for a month. Maybe she was in contact with the bank. Yo, check this out. I can't make the payment this month. Oh, it's only $1 million. Right? We'll get to it. But these people, and what's crazy is this next part I heard from JT the Pocket Watcher. I didn't have this in my research. But this next part I heard from his show, and I could not believe this. Allegedly, all she had to do was make a profit of $1 every month. I was hoping that part wasn't true. Right? So allegedly in this contract, they wanted a repayment of whatever that was. I don't know what that repayment was, that value was a month, right? But let's just call it $1 million. Which is still kind of steep, in my opinion. But maybe worldwide, that's not steep at all. Especially when your company is valued at $1 billion. What's $1 million a month? You understand? That's only $12 million a year. You valued at $1 billion, y'all should be able to come up with $12 million a year. A year. All right, cool. And I'm going to tell you something. This is why it don't make sense, but we're going to get into a bunch of things. We're going to get into piercing the corporate veil and all of these things. But I'm going to tell you why this doesn't make sense. One, if that is true, that they only wanted to see you make a profit of $1 a month, and they wanted you to repay the loan, whenever that is, let's just call it $1 million. And more than likely it was $1 million because I think this was a repayment of over 10 years or something like that. Her assets was in the hundreds of millions. Her assets were in the hundreds of millions. Now, when the receiver came in to look at the situation, because that's what a receiver does, they're going to be sent in to say, look at why you're making these mistakes, and then they're going to fix the mistakes and repay everybody, get you back on track. Hopefully, they're not there for you at this point. They're not there for you. They are there for the lender. So y'all not friends. But hopefully you can get back on track after this, because you still do own the company. They just control the company. When the receiver looked at everything, they found out you was commingling funds. Meaning, money was in accounts that should not have been going to accounts. So, I started a non-for-profit. And how I started my non-for-profit, there's some things I do myself and there's some things I don't do myself. When it comes to stuff like that, I've started companies by myself. My very first company, I hired a Mexican lady and she got me. She got me. I always give shout out to her. She charged me $1,800. She didn't even speak good English. Shout out to her. That's what I'm talking about. Fucking America. You gotta love it. Where else can you go? Charge a lazy black motherfucker $1,800 to do a business, right? He could have did this shit for $300. You hit him over the head. Bang! Let me just get a quick 18. I got you. Oh, I fucking hustled that money up, gave it to her, started that business. That business failed. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, obviously. And then I learned later, God damn, I could have did that for $300. So after that, any smaller businesses I will do myself because I've been able to do it. Like, I know what I'm doing now. But then when it comes to certain businesses like S Corps and stuff, like, I'll do an LLC like that by myself. Shit, I'm never hiring nobody for no LLC. Bye bye, I got you. Sole proprietorship, bye, I got you. When it came to the non-for-profit, I don't play those games. We're not playing those games. Right? I went straight to the lawyer and I got my bookkeeper, accountant, and we getting this straight right now. And you guys are going to handle this, and shout out to them. They did. They did. My female black lawyer told me everything I needed to do. Otherwise, she said, if you don't do this, and I'm going to tell you specifically what she said. She said you have to have a board meeting frequently, and I think it might have been every month or every 3 months or something like that. You have to have a board meeting. She said if you miss the board meeting, if you don't write everything down, what happened in the minutes in that meeting, she explained to me that at that point you are piercing the corporate veil, which means I have done something wrong, which now I could be held liable for later on. I'm compromised, and I did it to myself. I'm compromised, and I did it to myself, because at any time if I'm taken to court, an easy one, the judge, the prosecutor could be like, can you show us your minutes for every month, for every quarter? And if I turn around and be like, well, we skipped a boom, we got you right there. We got your ass right there. Now, you know you done messed up, right? You know you done messed up, right? So, commingling of funds. Somebody gives you money for the business and you just drop it in your personal account like, yo, I couldn't get to the whatever cockamamie nonsense is about to come out your face for putting it in your personal account. Bad business. Bad business. Don't do it. I'm having this, I did this show because there's many people, no matter what they talking about with the Iran war and all this other stuff, listen, it's still out here. Go get it. It is still out here. Go get it. Until the wheels fall off. Until the wheels fall off. Go get it. But in going to get it, make sure you do it right. One of my mans out of East New York, right? Big Crip. Don't worry about who he is. Big Crip. He impressed the shit out of me, right? Because we knew things about each other on the street level, but we didn't know nothing about each other on like a professional level. So when we started like really talking and shit, because we was talking street shit before. Yo, I think we impressed each other because he was telling me the businesses he had, and then he said, yo, I'm gonna send over my business proposal. I'm looking at this shit like, yo, this is amazing. I just spoke to him like a couple weeks ago. He got a new business now. It don't matter what it is, but he got a new business. Trucks are involved, but it's not a trucking company. But I'm proud of him. Let me just say that. I'm proud as hell of him. And there's more of this type of talent within all of us, right? So, and even when talking to him, I got the sense that he knew not to pierce the corporate veil. Like, he knew this because of our conversations. And he was like, yo, I keep a detailed record of everything, all my receipts, boom, 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 boom. This is how you have to be, right? When I first got the trucking company, the first thing I went out and brought was one of these. You got to buy your files and all of that. You gotta keep everything in order. It's not a game. You're not running it like some janky weed business. I don't care if you got a cleaning contract business, right? Go to Staples, buy your folder. I don't care how small your business is, a babysitting company. Keep your receipts in a folder. Treat it like that, because you don't know. That babysitting business could take off. It started with just you doing babysitting. Next thing you know, your niece had to replace you one night. Then she got friends, you interviewing them, making sure they got good backgrounds. Now you got the whole neighborhood calling you when they need a babysitter. It be happening just like that. And I just use that as an example. Please don't go out and start a babysitting business and you blaming it on me. Things go typey-turvy. What I'm saying is, what we need to do, not enough of us melanated people are talking professional, are talking how to do things. And then when we do talk the professional business talk, we just talking it to see who failed. Oh, she messed up. Oh, she over there, she jerked off the money. Yo, chill out, man. People are human. She probably knew she was doing something wrong. She probably just didn't know. Sometimes it's the culture around you. Sometimes other people get away with stuff, so you think you could get away with stuff. And that's why I'm talking to you, because I don't know who you are, right? You guys out there, I don't know how your business is going to blow up in 2 years, 3 years, this year. And I don't want to see you make the same mistake. So her second mistake was, after she must have filed the bankruptcy. And this part is confusing to me, because I've told you, I'll start a business on my own, like an LLC. I won't start an S Corp or Corp on my own. I won't start a C Corp on my own. Those are two different monsters right there. LLC, sole proprietorship, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But S Corp, C Corp, non-for-profit, you won't find me doing that by myself. I'm definitely calling a lawyer. So I'm in bankruptcy. I'm not doing a bankruptcy by myself either. Although I know some people have. I'm not doing it by myself. Apparently, she did a bankruptcy and then immediately went to social media to say, well, everything is good, all good, baby, because guess what? I found chapter 11. And it's confusing to me because your lawyer didn't explain to you that this has to be approved. This is not approved. You just submitted it. The judge could still smack this down, and then they could come back. Creditors will be back like they never left because they never did. Kayak rentals. How about this one, Winter? Self-wash car wash. Right? The joints that they come through and they do it themselves for like $3. They could do it in the middle of the night. Nothing got to be open. You got like 4 little slots there. They come through, put in the money, wash up the car for $3, $4, and keep it moving. It's out here. So she went to social media. She told everybody she found chapter 11, but she must have told everybody before the judge told her, like, first of all, Miss Weaver, your bankruptcy is blocked. We're not honoring it. I'm not giving it to you. So that's a little embarrassing and hurtful too, right? Because I seen one post she put up. It's like she was scrambling. She put up a post saying what people wanted for evil, God had other plans. I don't know if God got anything to do with this. And I don't think the devil got anything to do with this. I think our decisions, it's all mathematical. This is what I be telling y'all. We be quick to put God into the good things and the devil into the bad things. But where do we stand when we just didn't do the right thing? Right? And it's hard to say why you didn't do the right thing on this, but I'm going to go ahead and take a swing at it. You wasn't making the money. It wasn't coming in. When Jay-Z started selling liquor, we have to understand the music game was at the height of was at the top, right? This is even before Ciroc, because even though Puff it got Ciroc, but I'm talking about but when these cats started selling liquor at first, they was pushing other brands before they went out and got their own brand. But you also talk about the height of the music industry. Remember that's where the Dame Dash dance comes from. Wasn't they pushing Belvedere at that time? Those were some wild times. A lot of Black and Milds. I'm off the Bananas 99. Good music. Everybody's running around in button-ups, denim jeans, and tennis shoes. This is what my grandmother would call sneakers. Tennis shoes. Except these sneakers really did. Sneakers is Jordans. Jay-Z and 50 Cent came out with actual tennis shoes. If you're from the South, they call all your sneakers tennis shoes. My grandma's like, go get your tennis shoes. What? What are you talking about? You trying to say my sneakers look like Arthur Ashe specials? These ain't the Arthur Ashe 24s. No, just sneakers. My cousin had to tell me that's what they call sneakers out here. tennis shoes. I said, oh. Yeah, put on your dungarees. Dungarees? Those are jeans. Just put on your jeans and I said, oh. The language is different down here. So at the height, they run around in tennis shoes, basketball jerseys, and Dame Dash is doing the... And they sold this liquor to our people. Now, it made a lot of money. It made a lot of people rich. I don't know if we could afford... Okay, after all of that, let's just keep it real. Can we afford to still be running around drinking liquor like that? I don't know. I'm going to keep it real. It's a lot of kidney problems going on out here in these streets and a lot of liver problems. A lot of kidney problems, a lot of liver problems, and you don't... I don't want to crap on a black business. But at the end of the day, you know, people say this liquor is poison. So my question is, are the people still drinking? Like, where are you seeing these people now? There's no more MTV. There's no more BET where people watching this stuff for how many times did I see one video back then in a day? Like, when you talk about programming was aggressive 10, 20 years ago when radio was still a thing. You hear the same song. If you turned on the radio, which more than likely you did, you hear the same song 20 times in a day and you didn't bat an eye. You didn't care. You didn't think nothing of it. 20 times in a day. That's one song. So you hearing 20 songs 20 times a day. What a brain scrambler. What a brain scrambler. And I was the weird one because I to this day I ride around in silence or I'm listening to a audiobook. I don't want to hear no radio. I listen to music very seldomly. But when I listen to it, I'll listen to it like I'll turn on Jhené Aiko radio. And then that's how I'll hear the new R&B song. Like I'll turn on the artist radio, Chris Brown radio, right? And then they'll just start playing the new songs that are on these people's playlists. And then that's how I get introduced to a song. But I don't listen to music that much. At all. I never listen to the radio. I either listen to silence or I'm listening to an audiobook. Now, let me tell you why I started listening to silence. I started listening to silence when I realized that even when I was quiet, I heard conversations throughout the day. I couldn't calm my mind down. I'm thinking about this, how to solve that. What bill is coming up? This over here. What did that person say? Oh, snap. That was such and such across the street. I didn't even see that. Like, I'm just thinking, my mind is everywhere. And I just wanted silence. And I was like, yo, when does this thing shut off? Like, when shut off my mind? I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. And I couldn't do it. And it was like, it's time for you to start cleaning out some things. It's time for you to start turning off some frequencies. And that's what I did. And then I did these mind exercises where I was able to control. I started listening to Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill has a book called Outwitting the Devil. Napoleon Hill has a book called Outwitting the Devil. And in this book, he has a conversation with the devil. And the devil is now, mind you, this book is like 1950s. Napoleon Hill is saying this. The devil is telling Napoleon Hill in this book how he's capturing the minds of people. And he was basically saying what I'm saying. People don't know how to control their thoughts. They don't even know how to do it. So I was like, oh, snap. I'm on the right track. So I developed these exercises that I came up with on how to control my mind. And then it worked. So then I would test other people because I wanted to know if it was only me. And I would go around and say, can you think about nothing? And they would say, what do you mean? I don't want you to think about anything. I want you to just think about nothing. I don't want you to see anything in your head. I don't want you to see a color. I don't want you to see numbers. I don't want you to have conversations about, I don't want you to use your voice saying what's going on. I want you to think about absolutely nothing. Silence. Can you do that? And it was like, nah. Majority of people said, nah. I can't do that. So then I started working with certain individuals to show them how. I told them what I started doing in my mind. And they was like, yo, that works. So yeah. Also, shut off the radio. Don't get in your car and just turn on the radio. What are you turning the radio on for? If you are not listening to music or have the intentions to listen to music, what do you put on the radio for? It's just noise in the So you're adding these frequencies to your brain, and then you wondering why you can't shut your brain off. You got unnecessary white noise going on. Let's get back to Fawn Weaver. Assets at risk. The company is still operating, but assets may be sold. The brand could survive or be broken apart through liquidation. Chapter 7. So, basically, Fawn tried to hit him with the Chapter 11, which would allow for a repayment on the loans. However, Chapter 7 is something totally different, and because she is not in control, because of the contract that she signed, and because even though she had a good tactic of submitting a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the judge swatted that joint back away like she was Marty Supreme, right? Box. And then the receiver say, you know what we're going to do? We not playing around with no Chapter 11 and all them things that. Big Chapter 7. And this calls for, because she pierced the corporate veil, like I explained before, she jeopardized everything under the umbrella. Now, from what I'm hearing, there's more companies under this umbrella. So now, it's a hurtful thing. It's a hurtful thing because here this woman built up all this success, the foundations and all these things, right? And now it's a stranger in there. It's like a stranger in your bedroom just rifling through your things, man. A stranger in your office rifling through your things. Like, yo, what are you doing? And you can't do nothing about it. You got to let them do what they're going to do. But that's not the bad part. Just if it was just rifling through my things, that's one thing. No, they could go and pick up, I got a salt lantern over there. I think I got from Central America. They could grab that and say, yeah, I think I'm going to sell you a salt lantern. Like, what? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to sell that. Because we could get a good payment on this and repay your loan. Like, nah, don't touch that. And that's what he's doing. Not just to the Uncle Nearest business. He's doing it to anything, any company under the umbrella of the brand. So altogether, her assets are in the hundreds of millions. It's hurtful. It's hurtful for hurtful for, and not because it's some people are like, yo, you don't got as much money for her. What you worry about her for? That's not. I don't think that's what it's about, bro. It's about building something and then making a mistake, but such a deadly mistake that you lose everything that you work for. Some things have a value that you don't really put a price on it. It's just the fact that I built something. Like, that's my reputation, that's my brand, and now it's tarnished and I can't get it back. So it says how the default unfolded: aggressive growth, heavy borrowing to scale fast. I think she had a good plan. But one thing she did not consider is the power of artists. I don't know why she didn't work with an artist. And then what artist would she have worked with? To be very honest with you, right? Who was her demographic target? That's another question, right? She seems very professional. She seems like she can talk to urban America, but in truth, was this for urban Americans? Every black person is not an urban American, and every black person is not from the hood. Every black person that was from the hood no longer they don't all reside still in the hood. You understand? We do what we do to leave the hood with no regrets. I don't have any. You be like, yo, you left the hood? What are you talking about? Why are you worried about where I live at, though, blood? Let's start there. What do you care where I live? Right? I seen Jim Jones's house. Jim Jones has a gate around his house, bro. He may go to the hood. Jim Jones don't live in the hood. Let it snow once. He's outside tapping his feet. Can't wait to show you his new gadgets to pick up the snow. And his long driveway. I see Mano all the time in Jersey at the store. I'm not telling you where, so you can just start riding through Jersey trying to see superstars. But it's not in the hood, I can tell you that. I can tell you it's not in the hood. So yes, we do what we do so we could leave. So I just want to know who was her demographics, because I want to know who would have been the spokesperson. One thing about it, when you a rapper and you pushing your own brand, it's easier, right? And then you know your demographics. You know everything. Look, there's not a post that 50 is gonna put out without Branson. It's not a post. So this is why he does the things he does. This is why he tries to stay viral all the time. Was she doing enough? She was doing a lot of upscale podcasts, radio shows, and maybe that's outdated. Huh? I'm not saying she needed to get out here in Daisy Dukes. Look at that girl with the Daisy Dukes on. I want you to. I'm not saying she should have been out here with Uncle Luke. But there has to be somebody that is in the limelight on the social media that's willing to be a brand ambassador. And like Kirk Franklin said, one was never chosen. I never seen a brand ambassador. Now, Jack Daniels could afford not to have a brand ambassador. That's already set in their way. There's certain companies that's already set. People are going to buy it regardless because the name has been set in stone, right? I don't know that many smooth drinks, but when I do want a smooth drink, I'm not going to hold you. Right away, I think of Johnny Walker Blue. That's probably one of the smoothest drinks that I have ever tasted when it comes to whiskey. Well, I think Johnny Walker is not a whiskey anyway. Johnny Walker is a... What is that? Johnny Walker. Brandy? Not sure. But when I want a smooth spirit, then I go there. And I'm not saying the next time I won't try at Uncle Nearest if you guys are still around. I probably will try it because I don't want you to fail. Is that? That's a scotch? They make brown scotch? I don't drink a lot, Roby. But I know that's one. The blue is a smooth such and such. Woo! Strict covenants, loan terms impose tight conditions for $100 million. Yeah, they put some things in there. That's why I want to know. Do you think they knew? Like they gave. Look. Her company is valued at $1 billion. A smart person would say, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you $100 million." Your company's valued at what? $1 billion? Yeah, I give you $100 million, knowing you about to run into all type of shenanigans, all type of mischief out here because it's not the right climate, and I don't think you understand how hard it is to really get a spirits brand off the ground, and you're going kind of aggressive. So I'm gonna give you the $100 million, but I'm gonna put something in this contract that would allow me later to possibly come and snatch up the whole company. Now, when doing this, I'm not saying that they did this, but I'm not saying that they didn't, because this could have been a strategy. Now, when doing this, who would have known? It's like buying a locker at a storage and bidding on it. If you ever been to one of these, I have. So I said 50, I get a 50, I get a 50, 100, 100. You don't know what's in there. So you really just going with your little, your cap is $700. So you would like to spend $350 at most, right? You could walk away with good 3 lockers. You could walk away with 2, $350 a piece, or 1. Imagine the one you could afford. For some reason, nobody else wanted that bad boy, because you get to look and see, but you can't walk inside the locker. But you get to look and see. So everybody else brought these others, but there was one locker. It just looked like a bunch of junk. They let you have it. They didn't know the dude had stashed like 12 bullion gold coins in that joint. Huh? That's what this is like. I'm not sure they knew that how she set up her companies under one umbrella so that all these other assets would fall underneath there and they would have access to that. I'm not sure if she understood the terms of the contract for $100 million. I'm not sure if she thought this was like a Barclays loan for your first Barclays card, they send you a little $1,000. You don't pay that joint back. You give them the middle finger. Catch me if you can, sucker. Then they just kind of like nag you for 7 years. Yo, you got that $1,000? You got that $1,000? I think she thought it might have been like that. This is not what you want. This is $100 million. I don't know why you thought. I'm not laughing at you, Miss Weaver. This is not my first Barclays card at all. Wendy said, I loved to go out back in the day, but I was the driver. Never had to worry about anything. Oh, okay. Was you a drinker like that, though, Winter? Do you drink now? I drink seldom. Thanksgiving, I might take a drink. It's either going to be Thanksgiving or Christmas. Funerals. Yeah, Thanksgiving and funerals. That's when you usually see me. I don't drink when I'm stressed. I don't do that. Cause I just feel like I'm setting my body up for failure. Not every time I get stressed, it's gonna trigger me to drink and I'm gonna be an alcoholic. I don't want that addiction. Legal action. Linda files $108 million lawsuit in receivership. Damn. Cold-blooded. Sorry. What actually went wrong? The core problem. Whiskey is a slow cash cycle business. Money goes out now. Land. Okay, so now we talk about the business of whiskey through crazy presidents, right? Up and down markets. Tariffs. What is the other one? Sanctions. Whiskey is a slow cash cycle business. Money goes out now. Land, barrels, distillery. But revenue comes later, years after aging. Taking on $100 million in debt to scale fast created a dangerous mismatch. Yeah. You think? 3 failure points. Over expansion. Built too fast. Hundreds of acres. Massive distillery. Tourism site. Yo, let me tell you something. Who's the man with the master plan? Who's the man? She's not the man, but she's the woman. You had a dope plan, Miss Weaver. I don't care what they say. And I hope everything works out. Because I see what you were doing, but sometimes we can become too aggressive and we need to scale slowly. And maybe you were figuring, balls to the walls. But you know, when you bet big, you can win big or lose big. That's it. You can bet big, but you can lose big or win big. German North Cross says, do you ever think we will see another Black Wall Street? Yes. Because energy is cyclical. That's why. And I think at some point, there's going to be a generation of black youth who are going to be determined enough to see that they're going to be a different type of rebellious, an intelligent rebellious. And if we can't give our generation or the younger ones anything right now, what we can give them is history. What we can give them are the facts. So, do not think, yo, I'm busting my ass at my job. I really don't got nothing to give my children. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. They're still young. Tell them about the Black Wall Street. Tell them about the sabotage, the deliberate sabotage, and tell them truly who they are. The potential they have. This is why I talk about, I get passionate because I watched a lot. I watched different groups control black people with just the simple idea of the possibility. Right? Just the possibility, dangle the possibility in your face. Hey, you could possibly make money if you did it like this. Huh? Come over here and do it like this. You get fortune and fame. And how many people bite at it? They go at it. The reason I keep talking about these people is so that they are exposed, so that the younger people, if we all talk about it, they cannot hide. All they can say is, yo, I don't want you talking about us like that. Okay. And I don't want the sun to go down so early in the winter. We can't always get what we want, can we? I'm still going to tell, because I'm not telling lies, I'm telling the truth. Everything I'm saying is the truth. Not only was the sabotage financial, you did give us disease, Tuskegee experiments. The sabotage is real. But as long as we don't sabotage our principles and stay on code, protect our people, even from our people. I'm going to say that maybe 2 more times, but definitely 1. Protect our people from our people. What does that mean? We can't be in a rush to talk about the white man this and he did this and this one did this. And then when our own people do it, we don't say nothing at all. That's not, we can't get far like that. Because let me tell you something. Once another group sees that, oh, they ain't gonna say nothing if it's their own. So why don't we hire one of them to go in there and mix up everything? They not gonna say nothing, I promise you. Because it's one of theirs. And they feel like they only say something when it's us. You see? So we have to start calling out things even when it's us. Hey, brother, I don't see the problem why you keep on calling her a bitch. Like, I don't even, like, nah. Then he gonna be like, yo, sorry, that's just how I talk. But if I didn't say nothing, you would have just kept on calling her out her name. And I don't understand, because you want me to call you running around here calling you king. Yo, what up, king? How can I do that? And you have not, obviously you don't understand science. How could you be a king and she be a dog? That doesn't make sense, brethren. Eh? How can you be a king, a male king man, and she be a dog? Or what that? That doesn't make sense, brethren. So, this delusion and these perceptions we have are not created by us. The perceptions we should have of ourselves are literally suppressed by the people who run the media, by the people who show us these images, the platforms and the social medias and the TikToks and the Instagrams. They don't want you really looking like Mansa Musa. Let me tell you something. It wasn't Diddy didn't get into trouble until Diddy got up there and said we need to restore black excellence. And that's when Diddy got into trouble for some strange, odd reason. He didn't get in trouble when he was doing the parties because they knew about him. And guess what? Royalty was there, British royalty and all these other aristocrats and bureaucrats and everybody was there. It was all good, baby. The moment he wore all black, the moment Jay-Z started wearing all black, 100 Key, what was that song? He had everybody in black. Oh, they boosted him around, shut him down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What I use in the battle of my mind. Shut him down. To answer your question, yes. I answer yes because I want to see it for them. This is why I stay on code. And even when it looks like a lot of people think I don't be on code. No, I'm just not taking shorts from us or them or nobody because we need to be excellent. Because we the only people that can make ourselves excellent. What is we taking shorts for? Come on, man. Roby says Uncle Sam is the biggest problem with 401k now. Woo. My aunt retired last year and had to pay 30% of it to taxes. Of course, she was taxed when she made the money the first time. No, I don't think she was. Right? It's not taxed yet. What's put aside isn't taxed. The money was taxed though. Her paycheck was taxed, but what was put aside wasn't taxed. And then it was matched. Now, Roby, what your aunt had to do was figure out where she was going to move before she took her 401k. There are certain states, Texas, Delaware. There's certain states you have to find out which state. Yes, Jeremy. I'm going to get to you, Germs. You have to look at what state before you pull your 401k. And possibly you got to get up out of Dodge. You got to go there. Right? But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the 401k because they be playing all these monkey games. And we're going to get into these monkey games in the next couple of shows. But a lot of time you don't know specifically where. You don't know the intricate details of where your money is being invested. Right? I say I highly doubt, but there have been those situations where, let's just take the police fund. You understand? We'll take something like that. There has been situations where somebody in charge of a company fund think they're doing the right thing because this guy has a good reputation and a reputation for bringing back money. And then you put it into that fund and then things go topsy-turvy. They think they're doing the right thing. Things go aggressive. You didn't know what aggressive meant. Does aggressive mean, will aggressive mean they're going to start investing it in crypto? Like what is exactly aggressive in 2026? right? We all remember the horror story of Enron, WorldCom, and the list goes on. And, you know, to hit 70, 85, 80 years old and be like, you know what, I'm shutting it down. Let's just say $1 million. So you like, yo, I can't do it anymore. I tried my best. I can't do it. I'm just gonna have to stop where I'm at. What do I got? And that joint say $1 million. You're like, all right. I feel like I need more than that, but I can make it work. And then your accountant is like, well, for starters, that's 700. For starters, let's knock it off. For starters, that's really 700,000 that you got going on. You like, what? My grandfather, my great-great-grandfather left us 77 acres of land in North Carolina. My mother just retired. She just moved back there. And I was happy as hell. I'm like, I don't know why you left. Like, why'd you leave? She remarried. I thought her husband wanted to leave and go back to the city. She said it was her idea. Really? So they was out in the city paying $2,000 a month. But I'm happy because now she's in North Carolina paying no grands a month. Good for you. Good for you. So I'm glad this topic has come up because maybe the topic should go to land, buying land, and container houses. Huh? There's still a lot of, okay, everybody just hear me out for a second. They talking about 50,000, 50-year mortgages. A lot of the bigger home builders are they're well, a lot of investment companies, the bigger investment companies are buying up a lot of the houses, right? Which, when that happens, because if there are tariffs on materials already, that's going to slow down or raise the price of the house. But quite honestly, they're not just building houses like that anymore, right? So it's slowing down a lot of stuff. And then you have these bigger companies coming up and buying a lot of the houses. So this is what we look at as supply and demand. The demand is going to be high. The supply is low. It's going to drive up. They're going to create another market because these are the stupid things we do. There's not enough jobs. They're lying to people. It will create a bubble because at some point they're going to start easing on the lending requirements. You do not have to be Stevie Wonder to see what is going to happen. So either that's going to happen or something totally different that we have never seen before in our lifetime, which is they're going to have to step in and provide living for everybody, because there won't be enough jobs for everybody. And the funny thing is, they're already preparing for this. Right? This is why you see things like universal basic income conversations and stuff like this. So will a lot of houses be commandeered or allocated to certain groups of people, and then you stay there and then you follow the rules? If you don't follow the rules, guess what? You get kicked out of that house and now you get sent to a tent somewhere? I don't know. But to avoid all of that, maybe you don't focus on buying a house, you focus on buying the land. And then once you get the land, you go over to Temu. And I'm saying Temu sarcastically, but you go over to a company where you could get a box container house and turn that into a little something. You understand? Upgrade that bad boy with electricity and propane. And now you got something working realistically for yourself. I think our conversations just have to change. Yes, it is turning into the Hunger Games. Even on the internet. If you look at the internet right now, this is the Running Man, right? This is and you know what's crazy? They showed us already what they're going to do. They always do. So if you haven't seen the Running Man yet, I advise you to go see the Running Man. And it's just like everybody online are doing the most ridiculous things, and they've already normalized this. So there's nothing that the only thing we need to start seeing now on these TV shows are people dying, which we're not that far from. I guarantee you're going to see it in 2027, probably 27, 28. People just start dying on shows, and it's like, oh man, that's crazy. All right. See you guys on episode 2. Who wants to be a millionaire? It's going to be like that. And guess what? They're going to have people to sign up, bro. They're not far from it right now. You got people getting left on islands by themselves with wild animals. You got people out here with their head in a tank full of scorpions. Yo, it's crazy what people are going to do for money. So if people will do all of that for money, of course people will come here and dox you and put your kids up. You see people do worse for less, or worse for more, actually. But when you take away 100,000 jobs nationwide, easy. I'm talking about, just think about all the cashiers, because that's all I was thinking about. Just the cashiers alone, nationwide, would y'all agree with me? Has to be 100,000 jobs lost. Would y'all agree with me? All 50 states. Think about how many digital screens replaced a human being. So that's probably 100,000 right there. No toll workers. Ain't nobody out there collecting tolls. It's crazy. Setup, mismanagement, normal scale and failure. Normal scale and failure. Heavy capital, slow return on investment, classic trap. You can be successful and still default. Yeah. The business violated the loan terms. Yeah. Not necessarily believed it failed. I don't think it failed. It violated the loan terms. I don't think they should have violated the loan terms. And this is why I say that. And you guys tell me what you would have did. Now, what I'm about to say, it probably would have still pierced the corporate veil, but they would have never found out because there would have been no need for a receivership. So, if I'm worth $50 million, I got $50 million in the bank, right? In my own personal account. And then I got assets of $500 million. Why am I defaulting on a $100 million loan every month? Why? Why? If I understand my contract, I'm telling you right now, I've done worse for less. I'm going to spend my own money. You're not going to find out that million came from me, right? Because if I don't do that, you're going to come in and do what you're doing right now. Why would I give you a reason to do that? Unless I really don't believe this is going to work. And I don't see how we're going to ever make this happen. And I don't want to fail because the Uncle Nearest name, you know, people look at it now like it's such a big name and it's a story in the black community. Everybody's proud and I'm going to let everybody down. Mismanagement. Lenders claim financial reports were inconsistent. I don't know who was doing their books. I know that it sounds like she's kind of blaming the CFO. Bro, if I got a CFO that can't, like, who's your CFO? Your husband's barber? He was like, no, I went to school for that in the 80s. Yeah, that's what I got my bachelor's in. Yo, you been cutting hair for like 30 years, blood. Yeah, but I still remember how to do it now. I may need a brush up. I don't know. And I'm going to keep it real with you. I think it starts with bad habits, and this goes across every demographics, every race. It's not a race, so it's not. I don't want to make it look like, oh, black people are incompetent. No, I went to a school that had been open for hundreds of years, a college, and they had to shut down because the guy who was running the money, who was handling the money, was not handling the money right. And it wasn't a black person. He went to jail. But he was living the good life. And that's ballsy, man. Yo, what would make you do that? Like, what is going on in your life that you work for a school? You have access to all the money and you just like, you know what? I'm taking a fucking jet to Rome. Fuck it. I'm doing it. And you fly some girls out there. You just start living the life. He went to jail. They had to close the school down. Strategic leverage by lender. Lenders issue large loans with strict covenants, as we've seen here, and maybe thank God that they did that. How about that? Let's ask ourselves another question. Could that $100 million have affected Who would that have affected, right? We don't know. We don't know what pension was involved in that loan. So if they default on that $100 million loan, was a school board pension in that loan? That they was planning on defaulting on? Because once you don't pay a few times, we pretty much thinking that you might be defaulting at this time. So maybe it was a good thing they had that in the clause. Maybe it was a good thing. How receivership is used as a control mechanism. Issue large loans with strict covenants, wait for missed targets or reporting issues, declare default, push for court-ordered receivership, gain operational control, asset access to sell, dilute equity, or replace leadership. And on the other hand, maybe you wasn't doing this in good faith at all. Maybe you was doing this in the good faith that they would default so that you could take control of the company and the assets. It's something to consider. No doubt. I'm about to shut down the show anyway. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody for coming over. I might do a show later on, but you can hit the like button. You can come back later on. Tell me how you really feel in the comment sections about this whole thing. My whole thing was I didn't want to beat up Fawn Weaver today, her and her husband. I think they've done some amazing things as people, as black people. They have been great representation. Sometimes you mess up. Sometimes you don't. You take for granted the hardcore constraints within law. You can't play around with law. Law is law. You can't play around with law. I was talking to this Chinese cat the other day, and he told me, he's like, yeah, I'm still waiting for my application to come back for my gun license in New York, but I do what I gotta do. I said, nah, that's the wrong answer, my boy. He's like, I know. I said, I don't think you do. I don't know if you think. I don't know if you think they're gonna take pity on you because you're a professional Chinese citizen, but you're going to jail, my man, because there's something called a mandatory sentence. They don't have a choice. It's out of their hands. You got to do time. So stop running around with the ratchet in New York if you don't got your license yet. You're going to jail, my boy. They done sent Lil Wayne there. They done sent Prodigy there. You're going to jail. What are you doing? Talk about, nah, no. I don't think you do. You're bugging out. And that's out of their hands. It's nothing your lawyer, I went to school with. It ain't no, I went to school with that lawyer and all of that, and this family knows this family. You're going to jail, bro. Knock it off. So, as I end my show, no matter what you guys are about to get into, whatever business, when I say that, no matter what business you're going to get into, real business, not like, I sell t-shirts. I'm not shitting on the people who make t-shirts, but a lot of y'all never set up a real business for it. So it's two different conversations going on, right? You just went out and you bought the t-shirts and you put some embroidery on it, or some fucking silk iron them joints down, and you get money. That's a hustle. That shit is a hustle. But when we talk about a legal business, we talking about registering with the state, tax ID, EIN number, tax ID number, bank account, filing taxes. These are the conversations I'm having. I'm not talking about your t-shirt business where you run around getting off a couple of t-shirts. And if bust this, turn that shit into a real business though, bro. Go get a fucking listen. You allowed to file zero income for the first 3 years. So knock it off and just go get register your business for the t-shirts. This way you have at least 2 years history with a bank account. And then some other shit can happen for you, bro. Knock it off. First Corinthians says, I'm amazed how you have embraced your insanity. First Corinthians, I want to start out by cursing your God. That's number one. That's number one. I would like to say, screw you and your God. But both of y'all. Now, would you like to say something before I end the show? I'm going to put on some music. You get in the comment section and you tell me what you want to say before I end my show. But first, screw you and your phony ass God. How about that, 1 Corinthians? Now, it's your turn. While I find some good music to play and when I get up out of here. I'll wait. I don't care. He's not my God. So I give mine.
I shift like the hands on
assessment
Seiko's.
about
Any
you
false movement, turn the whole
and your
joint
God,
to
your
Waco.
phony
Swing
ass
blue
bullshit
versus
God.
Magley's is nasty. Seats
First
match my
Corinthians.
socks, belt match my
Anything?
chases. I'm only doing like 90. Handless conversations while I talk to my crimey. A flip just under 40, it bring us back to 90. This feel like the 90s. SJs, dirty 38s, wallahi.
No? Alright.
Yeah.
Go suck out your mother and go
Take
bite
it
your
easy.
father.
Peace, beloved. Am I packing? And you know it, a New York hitter. New York hitter. Take it off. Peace, beloved. Am I packing? And you know it. Gold yard, man bag, aim for toiletries, band rap, hand cash, work like magic. Turn into a fan fast, touching on my fabric. Got a pocket like ears of a rabbit. Know the darling from she's gotta have it for real niggas who giving up the phallic. Order to the crib, keep calling it a palace. Take it easy. You ain't living here, take it easy. Fuck up out of here. New York hitter. New York hitter.
I might come back tonight and I'm going to either I'm going to talk religion tonight and I'm going to talk the history of America in the morning. I think that's how we should do it. Religion tonight, the history of America in the morning. That's what we're going to do. Thanks, Germs. All right. So, thank you everybody for coming through. Thank you for the trolls. Thank you for the donations. Spection came through. Dropped a look of 2020 on your boy. Thank you, sir. Shout out to this effing guy. Drop some dough on your boy. Thank you. And shout out to everybody that watched the show in the bushes and quiet. And my last and final words is that I wish Fawn Weaver and her husband the best. I hope they can make it through this. If I'm assessing everything correctly, these people just want the $100 million that they gave you guys back, which you could obviously give back some way or the other. So it's not like you'll be in a poorhouse. And even if, let's just say the worst case, Uncle Nearest has to be dissolved. It was a good shot. It was a good run. Only thing you got is embarrassment. And you'll try again and you'll start again. Don't worry about it. You heard me? You guys are going to be all right. Peace out.